Hey guys, it's Tim, and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited Live. Today it is March 3rd. Yeah, it's March already. I can't believe it. But how are you guys doing? I can't believe it's been another week since we were live. And what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk Impact Wrestling, WrestleMania, really Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt from WrestleMania, Jack Swagger leaving the WWE, and more. So before I get started, I want to say thank you for everybody that is here live. If you want to help out Pro Wrestling Unlimited, you can hit that super chat button in the comments below, right here on the chat, to donate to the show. And also, if you want to get your very own Pro Wrestling Unlimited t-shirt, the link is in the description below. But let's get started with all this Impact talk. I mean, last night, they started over pretty much. They started over with Impact Wrestling, and it's no longer TNA, and they really, and I mean really, make a point to let you know that, hey, we're no longer TNA, don't call us TNA, the name TNA is dead, we're Impact Wrestling. So, my first question is, now that they're pushing away the name TNA, are you going to stop calling it TNA? I still feel like everybody is going to call this TNA still. Like, just because you say you're no longer TNA, you're still going to be called TNA till the day you're done. Like, who agrees? Let's see. Who's here? First off, let's see who's in the chat. We've got Anik Gupta, Puck Raven, Hot ED. What's going on, guys? Who else is here? Supreme Bree 3345. What is going on, guys? All right. So Punk Raven says nope, TNA for life. I mean, that's what everybody that I've talked to, that's the consensus, is it's still going to be called TNA. No matter how hard you push that the name TNA is dead, it's still going to be TNA, TNA, TNA. So all right. So, do I do the spoilers now, or do I do some spoilers? 'Cause there's things I want to talk about from the tapings. Do you guys want them now, or do you guys want to hear them? Let me know in the chat right now, the live chat here on the stream. Do you want the spoilers for TNA now, or do you want me to come back and talk to it at the end of the show? Because we can talk Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt first if you really want. What are you guys thinking? All right. All right, how about this? We're going to do Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt first. And then I'll see what you guys say in the chat. And if you want to talk spoilers and stuff, then we'll talk spoilers and stuff. But let's talk Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt first. If you didn't see SmackDown this week, oh boy howdy, Randy Orton, he turned on Bray Wyatt. And John Cena, no, not John Cena, my bad, AJ Styles got screwed. So AJ Styles and Luke Harper had a match. They had a they had a number one contenders match where the winner was going to face Bray Wyatt for the championship at WrestleMania. They go on and they have a good match, and AJ wins the match with the forearm, and the referee counts 1, 2, 3, but Shane comes down and says, no, this cannot stand. Luke Harper kind of mixed them together, anyways, Luke Harper, his foot was on the ropes, or under the ropes, I can't remember exactly which one, but Shane restarted the match, and think about this, though. At the very beginning of the show, they were replaying what happened the following week with AJ and Harper and falling out of the ring, and Shane was all like, we could have called it right there, but you made the right decision. You always have to stand by what the referee says. Always go by the referee's decision. And then what does Shane do later on in the show? Undermines the referee, just pretty much negates the referee's decision and says, you know what? We're starting this match over. So, they go on, and within, minutes, Harper loses from a 450 by AJ Styles, and so AJ wins, and then the main event segment of the show, we end up seeing Bray Wyatt out there talking, WrestleMania and this and that, and then Randy Orton comes up on the screen. And you see Randy's got like some axe in his hand, and then the camera pans out, and he's in a shed, and there's the Bray Wyatt rocking chair rocking back and forth, and Bray's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then Randy goes on to say, I told you that as long as, you're in charge, I can't face you. but that ain't the case no more. He goes on to say that I'm in your sanctuary, I'm in your sanctum, and right here, right where this chair is, under here is the grave of Sister Abigail, and he proceeds to start dumping gasoline everywhere. At this point, Bray Wyatt's freaking out in the ring, and as Bray Wyatt's freaking out, you see Randy just dumping gas everywhere, and he's going on to say, you know what, you thought you were in charge, and I was your follower, and this and that, and Randy walks out, and he says a couple more things outside of the shed before he lights a match, and you're like, oh no. So he lights this match, throws it down on the ground, burns down Bray Wyatt's sanctuary, his shed, I don't know if that's where Bray lives, but anyways, Bray Wyatt played this perfectly. If you didn't notice, as they're showing all this Randy Orton stuff, they keep cutting back to Bray Wyatt. And Bray Wyatt's playing the crazy, I don't know what to do, kind of the person that tells me what to do is gone victim. Like, he's sitting there with his arms crossed, holding his championship, rocking back and forth up against the announcer table. Like, that was like crazy mental patient shit. Like, I mean, anyway, so they go on and go to talking smack. And Renee Young looks at Daniel Bryan and goes, what do we do? What are you guys going to do? Randy wants his match at Mania, but AJ earned the title shot. So Shane comes, and he's like, yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Me and Bryan got a week to figure this all out. And AJ comes up, and he's like, you don't got to figure nothing out. I earned that championship match 3 times, technically. Once in the Battle Royal, and twice tonight. There's nothing you need to think about other than I get my title shot at WrestleMania. I'll give Randy a shot after. Bada boom. So AJ walks off. They figure, okay, we got to talk about this. And they announced, I can't remember if it was yesterday or today, but they announced, it might have been today, that this week on SmackDown, it will be Randy Orton versus AJ Styles, with the winner becoming the number 1 contender for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. So it's not the fact of, oh, Randy changed his mind, he now wants his title back, so we're giving him his title shot. Well, not his title back, but his title shot back, so we're going to give it to him. No, it's the fact of, Randy first gave it up, so now we crown somebody else that deserves it, and we're going to get a new number 1 contender. I mean, it's going to be Randy Orton. That's been the plan all along, Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt. They had multiple ways to get there, and this is the way they've chosen, but I don't know exactly how they come out of this, because here's my thing. Does Randy just straight up beat AJ? Is there some sort of a dusty finish involving Shane? Is there some sort of controversy? Shane's got to come down and ends up just giving the match to... I don't know. But none of this whole number 1 contender stuff outside of Randy has to do with Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt. All of this has to do with AJ Styles, Shane McMahon. All of this, the Battle Royal, having to face Luke Harper, then having to face Luke Harper again, kinda. It's all to set up AJ Shane, and everyone's not that they don't understand that, they don't want to believe that. So let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. HWRP Divas, what's going on? Supreme Breebree says, amazing promo by Randy. It really was a really good promo. Puck Raven says, Puck Raven says, Wyatt's house was a horcrux. Interesting way of thinking about it. And Kit Gupta says, Randy versus Wyatt in a buried alive match at WrestleMania. That would be interesting. I can't say I don't see it happening. It's going to be a one-on-one match. That's what I think, but... Alright, so let's get into Impact Wrestling. Because, you can't call it TNA anymore. So, forewarning right now, spoiler alert. I'm not going to talk about everything, but there's a couple things I need to touch on. First off, like I said, they pretty much, who is it? Bruce Pritchard, Zeb Coulter, who was Dutch Mantel, both cut promos in the ring. This is for next week's episode of Impact. It airs on March 9th. They both cut promos in the ring saying, TNA's dead. The last couple years of TNA was horrible, horrendous. We need to forget about it. We need to think like it never happened. We're Impact Wrestling. The moniker is Let's Make Impact Great Again. So Bruce Pritchard, I don't know exactly what his role is, but I know he was brought in because his podcast is so popular. Jeff Jarrett's feeling is Pritchard's podcast is so popular that everybody that listens to his podcast will come watch Impact because he's going to tell them to, or whatever. I don't know if Bruce Pritchard is brought in as an authority figure or not, because in the main event, he kind of played an authority figure a little bit based off of the info I got from the tapings. But let's see. The three big things that happened at last night's tapings, and remember, there's more coming up this week. Tonight, tomorrow, I was going to say Sunday, Monday. There's like 4 or 5 days worth of tapings. But the big three things is there's changes on the announce booth, the world title picture, and one big thing is Cody Rhodes, Moose, Brandy Rhodes. So as far as the announcing goes for TNA, they've got a new announcer. Yeah, Jeremy Borash is now an announcer in TNA, and he's kind of feuding a little, I guess you can say, with Josh Matthews. There is now take this how you may. This didn't happen last night. This could happen at today's set of tapings. Take this how you want it. But there is a heavy rumor based off of what Josh Matthews said last night that Jim Ross may be coming in to call TNA. Well, scrap that. To call Impact Wrestling. Jeremy Borash said that the things that Josh Matthews have been saying as of late isn't what management wants, and Borash is what they want, and this and that. And Matthews said that, he's called WrestleMania. He learned from the great Jim Ross. He was in the other company, and he did, earn his spot here in Impact Wrestling, and they kind of went back and forth apparently a couple times. So I'm not saying it's for sure Jim Ross is coming in as the new announcer for Impact Wrestling, but that's just the thing I've heard and what people are actually talking about, because his name was not only brought up last night by Josh Matthews in the promo, but people backstage have been talking about Jim Ross as well. So the whole thing with Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes and Moose is Cody thinks Brandy's cheating on him with Moose. If you've watched Impact over the last couple weeks, you understand that. And they've kind of played that up more this week or last night at the tapings for next week's episode. Brandy was supposed to face Casey Quinn, independent wrestler Brandy Lauren. Cody comes out and goes, "This ain't going to happen. I'm not going to allow Impact Wrestling to pimp out the Rhodes name." He then offered Quinn $45, telling her, that's 20 more bucks than they were going to offer you to do this match, and pretty much doesn't allow Brandy to wrestle. Then later on in the show, Cody comes out calling out Moose, and Jeremy Borash says, nope, Moose can't come out right now. He's in Japan. He's going, from what I heard, Moose is going to Japan, but it's not, I don't know. The timeline for these episodes might work out for when he's going. He's going in like a week or two. He's actually going to Japan. But anyways, so an interesting thing is Cody was out there. He's the Global Force Wrestling Next Gen Champion, and he came out there with the belt. He then threw it into the ring, and I don't know exactly what else happened. Remember, these are all he said, she said things from the tapings. They're pretty clear, but some things, get lost in translation. But it's interesting that Cody Rhodes actually came out with his Global Force Wrestling Championship. And remember who's in charge over there in TNA right now? Jeff Jarrett, the guy that owns Global Force Wrestling. So then in 2 weeks, now this was clarified in my spoiler video from last night. I was unsure about this, but now this has been confirmed to me that this match will take place in 2 weeks. It will be Moose putting his grand championship on the line against Cody. Cody loses via split decision, and a very interesting thing is that before the third round, Brandy apparently walked out on Cody. Now the big thing from the Impact tapings is that they've signed former WWE champion Alberto Del Rio, who has been going by the name Alberto El Patron, but last night was referenced as Alberto Del Patron. They signed him to a full contract. He's full in to Impact Wrestling. He's not just signed on for a couple dates or here. From what I've been told, Alberto signed a full deal with Impact Wrestling. So Bruce Pritchard was in the ring last night, and he's talking about, we got to make Impact great again. We're not TNA. We have new owners and new management and new names and new logos, and everything's bigger and better. And he calls out Bobby Lashley, the champion. So Bobby's out there, and Alberto comes out and interrupts him and says, I want a title match. EC3 comes out and goes, what makes you think you deserve a title match? I want a title match. And Lashley shoots that down. He says, I already beat you multiple times. You're not getting a title match. So then they make the match Del Rio, De Patron, Bobby Lashley for the title in the main event. The match goes on, and I don't know. I guess you can say Alberto's the new champion, but it's a little unclear because one referee got knocked out in the match, and they sent out another referee. He got knocked out. I guess Lashley was hit with the bell, and there was a bunch of controversy. Pritchard came out, Earl Hebner came out trying to figure out what was going on. Then by the end, one ref said Bobby was the champ. One ref said Alberto was the champ. And in the end, Alberto took the title, walked out. Another interesting thing about that title is, yes, they're no longer TNA. They're Impact Wrestling, but they still got the old TNA belt. The belt still says, if you look at the pictures online, the belt still says Impact Wrestling on it. So I don't know if maybe they're going to incorporate that saying, we're not TNA no more. We're taking that title away. We're bringing in a new title. That's what I would assume. They're going to bring in a new championship belt. It's unclear. I haven't been told that. We don't know for sure, but it would just make sense. I mean, I guess it would have kind of been weird if Lashley just walked out there with a new belt. I mean, because, yes, he was out there with Bruce Pritchard, who was saying TNA's dead, so Pritchard could have just presented Bobby the new belt. But maybe now that Alberto's got the belt, they give him the new... I don't know exactly. We're going to have to wait. There's more tapings tonight. We'll have more spoilers for you. All this starts next week on Pop TV, and it's making me really kind of want to watch. I'm a little interested with the Alberto stuff and the Moose Cody Rhodes stuff. I've actually watched the last couple of weeks because of the Moose Cody Rhodes stuff. So, all right. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Robert Cathy says, Josh Matthews can actually wrestle. Why doesn't he get in the ring and from time to time? I don't really know. I know in TNA or in WWE, they really just didn't see him as a good enough wrestler, and that's why he was used on commentary. Afghan AFG says, do you think Undertaker returns at Fastlane and costs Roman the match? That's a very possible thing that can happen. I haven't heard if Undertaker is going to be in town, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. So, let's see. Bullet Club versus Shield says, is it true that Paige was backstage? Yes, Paige was backstage with Alberto Del Rio, but because she's under contract with WWE, it was, I guess, okay for her to be there, but she couldn't be referenced or seen on anything, like TV-wise. So, yeah, it was okay for her to be there. She just couldn't be used. And Nick Gupta says, Hardys shouldn't come to WWE because they will be treated like the Dudley Boys. That's a fear a lot of people have, to be honest. All right. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Puck Raven says, JR, holy shit. And Nick Gupta says he should beat him by pin Braun to Roman. I don't know exactly what you're talking about there. Puck Raven says Zeb got Alberto. Now he's gonna get Swagger. Maybe. Let's talk about it now. Jack Swagger. Jack Swagger has asked for his release from Impact Wrestling. No. Wow. I'm on this high of Impact. No. Jack Swagger asked for his release from the WWE. So, Jack Swagger, apparently they were in negotiations, him and WWE. He wasn't liking where the negotiations were going, and he said, you know what? I'm done. I want to do other things. He's interested in MMA. He's interested in wrestling elsewhere, and he's already got a date. He's doing a show for Paige's family coming up here. When's the date? Let me get you the date exactly. But he's doing a show for Paige's family in Norwich, England. But the interesting thing is that technically he's still under contract with WWE. He told Chael Sonnen that it's an ongoing process for him to get his release. They told him that it's going to happen, it just hasn't been made official yet. So with WWE not announcing it yet, that means he's still under contract. Until WWE announces that Swagger's done, that Swagger's gone, he's under contract by them, and it's I don't know if he can get in trouble or not for signing on to do a show outside the WWE. I can see him argue the point saying, well, I thought, you told me it was all good and well, we're done, I'm done. So I can see his argument. But WWE can also say, you know what, we haven't announced it. You're still on all of our website, you're this and that. So it's going to be interesting to see which way they go with this. But they did announce, next weekend it is, actually. It's next weekend that he will be wrestling for WAW British Wrestling, which is the company that Paige's family owns. Paradise JDG TM, will CM Punk return? Not anytime soon, brother. Not anytime soon. Alright, Robert Cathy says, SmackDown is setting up AJ and Shane kind of nicely. Still don't want to see it, though. Yeah. Okay, so we got a little more Impact talk. We got to talk about the talent. We've talked about, the things that they've changed and who they brought in and the new champion, but we need to talk about talent. Talent that have left. And I guess one guy I haven't mentioned yet that's coming in. We'll talk about him first. Matt Morgan was on the Wrestling Inc. podcast this week and said that he's coming back to weekly wrestling television. Matt Morgan, now 40 years old and a professional bodybuilder, is actually returning to Impact Wrestling. He said that he didn't say it himself, but it's been confirmed to me by multiple sources, and Dave Meltzer also said it, that he's coming back to Impact, and that's for sure. It's not known exactly which day of tapings he's going to be on, but he's supposed to be on at least one of the day of tapings coming up this week. An interesting thing, though, is that with all the bodybuilding stuff that Matt Morgan is doing, he was actually advised that if he does wrestle, he's got to be easy. Because I guess it's the specific way he trains for bodybuilding isn't really good for wrestling at his age. So, hey, we'll see what happens. But as far as who's left Impact Wrestling, let's take you on the journey. Let's go on this timeline. Let's go from what we learned Sunday all the way to what we learned Wednesday. So Sunday, we learned about the first departure, Drew Galloway. Drew Galloway announces that he's done with Impact. His contract actually had already been up, and he was working on per date things. So he's gone. He's going to work ICW. He's going to work Evolve. He's going to work What Culture because he's their champion. And he's going to do other indie stuff. I don't know if there's any interest in WWE. And I don't know if there's interest for him to go to WWE. Because Vince already has in his mind, oh, that's that guy from 3MB. That's that rocker dude that we used as a job guy. So, I don't know what the perception would be. Yeah, Triple H may be the kind of guy that can bring Galloway's in and be like, no, this guy did good on the indies and he did good where he was. Let's push him. But in the end, it's Vince who's going to make that call. And if Vince just sees him as that guy from 3MB, it's really all he's going to be. Yeah, you can argue that, look, Heath Slater was that guy from 3MB. And now look at him. He was a tag team champion. So it's going to be interesting if there is interest on both sides, Galloway and WWE. But as of right now, from what I'm hearing, Galloway is just working indies and he's doing stuff overseas and in the U.S. But the next thing we learned was that the Hardy Boys on Monday announced that Matt Hardy announced that he's leaving Impact Wrestling. With Matt leaving, it's, Jeff left too. Jeff, he's not as open in public with things like Matt is, so pretty much when Matt made his announcement, we just knew he was saying it for him and Jeff. So apparently what happened was they were talking. They had a deal ready in December. The Hardys wanted XYZ. Impact countered with XYZ of their own. And they were like, okay, let's just Matt himself was like, I want creative control. I want control over the entire Broken Hardy character. And they're like, okay, we'll give you this and this, but we want... One big thing was they said they wanted 10% of whatever the Hardys were making outside of Impact. And when that happened, Jeff said he was done. Matt was like, okay, maybe we can tweak that. Maybe we can work on that. Maybe we can figure something else out on that. And Matt, for the next couple of weeks, was, trying to talk and talk and talk. And then they tried signing Matt to like a 2-year deal when he only wanted to sign a 1-year deal. Matt finally said, you know what? This isn't going to work. This is not going to be, Matt's lawyer told him, if you sign this, it's not going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Substantial and beneficial. That's the word. Beneficial for not only just you, but your family. So as tag team champions, and this is going to be something that we're going to have to watch for on these tapings because they did nothing with tag teams really last night at the tapings. But as the tag team champions, Matt and Jeff said, we're your champions. We're leaving, but we will come to the tapings to drop the titles. And they were very cordial about it. They were just like, you know what? We know that's the right thing to do. We're not just going to up and leave and have the titles in limbo. That's not Matt's style. And Impact said, all right, we want you to sign this contract. And Matt was like, what contract? No, I'm not signing anything. They wanted the Hardys to sign a 3-month deal because of, they're taping all this stuff. They didn't want the Hardys to show up on, say, Ring of Honor television or WWE television before their final stuff aired for Impact. Matt didn't want to sign anything, and that's where the whole thing comes in now that the Hardys aren't going to be at the tapings at all. They weren't willing to sign anything long-term like that. Because if they were to sign, say, a 3-month deal, and WWE wants them to come in at WrestleMania or the Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania, they couldn't. Because if they sign a 3-month deal, say March 1st, then you got to wait April 1st, May 1st. Maybe they could have it up May 1st, June at the latest, I guess. So they didn't want to sign a long-term deal with Impact and be stuck not being able to do, what they have in store going forward. So, all right, let's see. And then we learned that Mike Bennett and Maria were leaving. We knew about Maria. Maria had announced back in November or December that she was semi-retiring from pro wrestling. She wanted to go back to school and that she was leaving Impact. Nobody knew exactly the status of her husband, the Miracle Mike Bennett, but he announced as well he was done with the company. I feel like Mike Bennett isn't as big of a loss, to be honest, as Maria, because Maria was the focal point of that women's division outside of the Jade. Excuse me for that one. Oh, damn. Anyways, let's get back to it. Outside of the Jade Rosemary title stuff, Maria was the top, I guess, some say she's the number 1 pushed knockout in the company. Some say she's number 3. But losing Maria was a big deal, I feel, for Impact in the women's division. So let's see. Yeah. And then we lost Jade. I hear Jade may be at the tapings this week, but it's unknown. So, yeah. Do you guys have any questions for me here on Pro Wrestling Unlimited Live? Remember, if you want to help out with the show, you can hit that super chat button down below, or you can go to our TeePublic store. You can go to our TeePublic store and get one of our Pro Wrestling Unlimited t-shirts. All right, let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Sorry about that. My phone started going off. Give me 1 second. All right, let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Robert Cathy says, is Matt going as Broken character? It's unknown right now if he can be the Broken character on TV, on non-Impact TV. How about I say it like that? Yeah, you heard Daniel Bryan's theme song. My phone actually rang. But, let's see. Alrighty. Jasmine says the next tapings need to be the last. Well, I feel like they're gonna do some good things. There's some good things that can happen. But, alright. What else is going on? What happened to the other series? Okay, yeah. If you guys don't really have any more questions, we might just end it there. Let's see. Bullet Club vs. Shield says, do you think Sasha will turn heel at Fastlane, costing Bayley the championship? No. There's a possibility, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think she would rather help Bayley keep the championship because they're playing up the whole thing that she can beat Bayley, but she can't beat Charlotte. But, alright guys, that's going to do it for this edition of Pro Wrestling Unlimited Live. Thank you guys so much for joining us here in the chat today on the live stream. But for more Pro Wrestling Unlimited, remember to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Until next time.